This team won't win a Super Bowl, but it's the most over-discussed team, I think, in the NFL. It's the New York Jets. Now, I know you think we talk about the Cowboys, or everybody talks about the Cowboys too much, but the Cowboys did win 12 games last year. The Cowboys have had years in which they've won 12, 13. Dez caught it. Of course, they did win 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. They've had great players. The Jets' claim to fame is that they went to the AFC Championship game twice with Mark Sanchez as the quarterback. That's it. That's really Jets football. And back in an era where TV was black and white and no one who's listening to sports radio who's under 60 years old, 70 years old remembers Joe Namath calling a shot and winning a Super Bowl, right? Nobody remembers that. So that's the Jets' claim to fame. But they're in New York. A lot of broadcasters, and when I say broadcasters, it's a very broad term. People are like, what do you do? I don't think I'm a broadcaster, but maybe I am. I mean, it's just a great overall term. Like, what I'm a broadcaster. Well, what does that mean? Well, I'm not a play-by-play guy. I do color analysis. I do opinion stuff. I do interviews. I do a podcast. I do a radio show. I guess that's a broadcast. But many people, especially on the play-by-play side and on the host side and on the production side as well, producers as well, are New Yorkers. And many of them follow why is Syracuse so covered? Well, Syracuse has been good, plus a lot of Syracuse alums. Same thing with the Jets. And a lot of New Yorkers from Jersey, a lot of New Yorkers from Long Island, and Long Island used to be the home of the Jets. They used to play where the Mets played at Shea Stadium. But they're kind of an over-discussed team. On the other hand, this is sort of interesting. This is their 3rd consecutive foray, maybe even 4th, if you want to go all the way back to Sanchez. They've tried the young quarterback thing 4 times over in the 1st or 2nd round. We'll give Geno Smith as one of those. They took a swing there, and he was the starting quarterback for a couple years. He was a 2nd-round pick. But they had Sam Darnold. That didn't work. They have Zach Wilson so far, not much. They had Geno Smith. That didn't work. They had Mark Sanchez, who they had great success with, and many people would tell you in spite more than because of Sanchez, who was more of a game manager, although I do think there were some underrated things he did with his feet and in pressure situations. But Robert Saleh yesterday said, hey, I'll have an update for you today as Zach Wilson was cleared to come back to practice after having his knee cleaned up. He had a meniscal tear of some level. Here is Robert Saleh today.
The earliest he's going to be available is Pittsburgh, just from everything we gathered over the last couple of days. Now, can it change? Sure, I'm always going to leave that door open. You guys know me, I'm the eternal optimist, but we are going to make sure that both mind and body are 110%, make sure we do right by him, and we feel like, talking to the doctors and everyone, it's going to be that Pittsburgh week. There was always that hope. You guys know me. There's always that hope, but after all the information gathering, it's just not worth the risk. He hasn't had a setback. He looks fantastic. He still looks good. He feels good. And you guys will see him. He's not walking with a limp or anything. But just gathering all the information and talking to their doctors along with ours, we're just going to end it until Pittsburgh.
All right, so they have the Ravens with Joe Flacco, former Raven, led the Ravens to the Super Bowl, former backup to Lamar Jackson, who, of course, is going to start and star for the Ravens this weekend. They have that in Jersey. Then they go to Cleveland, take on the Browns. Then the Bengals, defending AFC champions at home. Then they take on the Steelers. Obviously never an easy task, and that's supposed to be game 1. But it is interesting how, like, the little things that can screw up the development of a quarterback. Right? Playing a guy right away, sometimes that can screw him up. Not playing him enough early, that can screw him up. Injuries oftentimes are the hardest part, especially when injuries occur late in the year, because then it hurts your ability to rehab. You're, instead of working on your game in the offseason, you're rehabbing in the offseason. Zach Wilson's offseason was, need a word here, interesting? Yeah. I don't need to go into the details, do I, of the rumors about his off-the-field behavior. Nothing illegal, maybe illicit, maybe frowned upon, maybe smiled upon. All depends on your perspective. But at least there was that. Plus there was the put some man muscles on, 15 to 20 pounds. And we've been told, like, the biggest sale in the Jets personnel being better. Have you seen this? Is 7 of the guys they got cut immediately got picked up, which either says they have better talent that they're cutting guys that other people want, or maybe they're cutting the wrong guys. It's also a possibility. But whatever the case is, the guy's development, like, you got to start to know something year 2 and year 3. You got to know what you have. The best way to build a club from the ground up in the NFL, it's been proven, is you have a quarterback on a rookie contract scale. Years 2, 3, and 4 are the money years in which they get paid a bunch up front, and then the 5th-year option, that hurts you a little bit on the cap. Not like Aaron Rodgers, not like Russell Wilson, not like whatever Lamar is going to sign for, Dak Prescott, Pat Mahomes, but it still is a little bit more prohibitive, especially when you're a top 3, top 4 pick, what you make in your 5th year. But those 3 years, those are money years. And because of how much he played last year, granted he got injured a little bit last year, it feels more make or break this year than it probably should. It feels like there's more focus because of the internet stories and the jokes than it probably should. It feels more like, is Zach Wilson kind of a lemon? Right? Has anybody ever bought a lemon? You know what a lemon is, right? It's a car you can't keep out of the shop. Right? And it's one of those cars which you're like, it's always something wrong. It's just always something wrong. Now, we can be fair and say Zach Wilson last year didn't have the pieces. Zach Wilson last year probably played ahead of when his body, in terms of physicality, should have. And the Jets, well, they're in rebuild mode, and year 1 is always difficult. But at some point in time, you got to decide on that car, like, do I need a lemon and just, take a little bit of a loss and move on? Or is this the car that I want, and all those little knobs that don't work, air conditioning that seems to be screwy, navigation that sends me to the wrong place, all of those things, it was hot outside, it was just a glitch in the system, it was just a recall. That's a really hard one. The Jets are a team that we focus upon mostly because a lot of people in the industry grew up as a Jet fan, more so than they actually matter. But for a guy who kind of came out of nowhere to be this good-looking, super athletic, hey, he's got the swag, he can understand New York. I don't know, you get hurt early in your second season after a disappointing first year, and your off-the-field dating activities come into question on the old Twitter sphere. That one seems like you have my attention because we may be making a determination whether or not Zach Wilson is the dude or not the dude by the end of the year. Make sense?